Hello, this is Laura. I am going to do this as a separate video. I just ended the other video that has to do with the first section of your 1040. And what I'm doing right now is I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the next part of the 1040. I have another video that relates to this section right here, and I will have to link to that video. However, if you're looking at down the instructions, it will have that here. It will have the, let's go down the page, the I-10 numbers, Social Security numbers, age, blindness, which is right up here. Social Security numbers right here, I-10 numbers, spouse, itemized separate return. Okay, this we have to take a look at. That I have to look at yet. But the age and blindness is right here. You were born before January 2nd. They have an age. I never saw age before. That's the first time I saw that. But that would not apply to me. That's interesting. Okay. So they have an age reference. So, um, age and blindness, Social Security numbers, death of a taxpayer, cost of keeping up a home. Okay, for an address change. Okay, so let's go down the page. We have age and blindness. If you or your spouse, if you are married and filing a joint return, were born before January 2nd, 1957, or were blind at the end of 2021, check the appropriate boxes on the line labeled age blindness. Age is a new something they added. Remember, there's always changes, so double check things. Don't check any boxes for your spouse if your filing status is head of household. Death of a spouse in 2021 if your spouse was born before January 2nd, 1957, but died in 2021 before reaching age 65. Don't check the box that says spouse was born before January 2nd. A person is considered to reach age 65 on the day before his or her 65th birthday. Okay, your spouse was born on February 56 and died on February 13, 2021. Your spouse is considered age 65 at the time of death. Check the appropriate box for your spouse. However, if your spouse died on February 12th and they were born on the 14th, your spouse is not age 65. Don't check the box. So these considerations are very important for anyone age 65. Death of taxpayer 2021. If you are preparing a return for someone who died in 2021, see Publication 501 before completing the standard deduction information. So it's very important to understand this because age is something new. They've always had blindness on there for a long time, but age is something new. So make sure you understand what is on the form there, or ask your tax advisor. Okay? Now, if you were totally blind as of December 31, you must get a statement certified by your eye doctor that you can't see better than 2200 in your better eye with glasses or contacts, lenses, or your field of vision is 20 degrees or less. If your eye condition isn't likely to improve beyond the conditions listed above, you can get a statement certified by your eye doctor, ophthalmologist, or optometrist to this effect. Instead, you must keep the statement for your records. Listen to this. See, this is very important. Beginning in 2021, if you receive a notice or letter, but you would prefer to have it in Braille or large print, you can use Form 9000, Alternative Media Preference, to request notices in an alternative format, including Braille, large print, audio, or electronic. You can attach Form 9000 to your return or mail if separated, or mail it separately. You can download or view online tax forms and publications in a variety of formats, including text-only, Braille, ready files, browser-friendly HTML other than tax forms, accessible PDF, and large print. So that's also something that was beginning in 2021. And then they have more information here. Let's go to, married filing separate. If your filing status is married filing separate and your spouse itemized deductions on his or her return, check the spouse itemized on a separate return, or you were a dual status alien box. That would be here. Right here. So they put this together in one sentence. Spouse itemizes on a separate return, or you were a dual status alien. You are you as a dependent. Someone can claim you as a dependent or your spouse as a dependent. So this is very important right here. Let's look at this again. Back to here. If your filing status is married filing separate and your spouse was born before January 2nd, 1957, or was blind at the end of 2021, you can check the appropriate boxes on the line labeled age blindness if your spouse had no income, isn't filing return, and can't be claimed as a dependent on another person's return. Whew! Make sure you understand this if it applies to you. I mean, the best thing you can do, this is the way I do it, I say, okay, if I put that on one line by itself, and then I write, your filing status is married filing separate. So then I write married filing separate if that was me, right? Then I would put a plus sign. And then I would put my spouse's birthday before, let's say my spouse was born before January 2nd, right? And so if I had that and that, then I would write that down on paper. Very easy to see. And it says, or was blind at the end of 2021. Let's say that did not apply in this case. And then I would check the appropriate boxes on the label age blindness. But then it says, if your spouse had no income. So all of these are okay to check right. Where is it at? Here. It's talking about this, the spouse one. Right there. Okay? And then it says, now remember, ask your tax advisor. I'm just trying to understand what it says here. If your spouse had no income, is not filing a return, and cannot be claimed as a dependent on another person's return. So, do that on your return if that's true according to this just right here. Okay? So, then you have this section right there. right here, which is right here. This fund helps pay for the presidential election campaigns. The fund reduces candidates' dependence on large contributions from individuals and groups and places candidates on an equal financial footing in the general election. The fund also helps pay for pediatric medical research. What? Oh. How does that have anything to do with presidential campaign? Oh, I don't. If you want $3 to go to this fund, check the box. If you are filing a joint return, your spouse can also have $3 go to the fund. If you check a box, your tax or refund will not change. Okay. Where does the money come from? I don't know. But I don't know how one presidential election campaign has anything to do with pediatric medical research. Okay. So then, I already read the section about virtual currency. So apparently, you know, they have this section up here, which is out of order as to what's on the page. That section relates to this. And then the next section below it goes up the form up here. And then the next section after the presidential says virtual currency. Then the virtual currency is here, which you have to say yes or no. So there you go. Isn't that something? Okay, so that's how to go through that section. Then you have the qualifying as a dependent section, which is going to be next. All of this right here. Okay. Now I have a different video on that. I'm going to go right past that, and I'm going to scroll down. I know you might pause and read if you like, or look at my other video. And then after all of that, has a lot of information about that. All right. They add a section called kidnapping, you know, a child that was kidnapped, and just all kinds of stuff. Now we're going to go down to income. Here we go. So, now I want to look at the W-2. The W-2 is going to have wages, and then it's going to have federal income tax withheld, Social Security, and so on and so forth here. I'm going to try to do a simple one just to look at the forms. So if I scroll this up and I move this over so you can read it, I'm going to have it like that. My main focus is right in here, this section. So I go back here, it says income, and that will start with income. Now, attach Schedule B if required. First, what I want to do right now is just look at the W-2. That means that maybe all of this is not going to be 100% filled out if there are other sections in here that apply to you. For the moment, we're just going to look at the W-2 and where that goes in here. So, this one says wages, tips, other compensation. Right? And what I'm trying to do right now is look at this. Okay? All right. Now, I'm going to look at that and this for a moment. So, this says income, generally. Generally. How do you like that word? You must report all income except income that is exempt from tax by law. For details, see the following instructions and Schedule 1 instructions, especially the instructions for lines 1 through 7 and Schedule 1. Lines 1 through 8Z, see Publication 525. Oh, they have the PPP loan information is in here. Bankruptcy is in here. You must round off cents to whole dollars on your return and schedules. If you do round to whole dollars, you must round all amounts to round drop amounts under 50 and increase amounts from 50 to 99. That's pretty standard accounting practice. All right, we're going to go down here to line 1. Okay, now we're all on the same page at the same time. I have line 1, wages, salaries, tips, etc. And then I have line 1, wages, salaries, tips, etc. And then I have line 1 here, box 1, enter the amount of the wages line of your tax return, which is going to be right there. Okay, I'm trying to relate every section together at the same time. Now, if you have more than one wage, salary, tip from more than one person, obviously each one is going to have a separate employer identification number. Talk to your tax advisor to make sure the amounts and the numbers here are correct. So let's pretend you only have one W-2. Enter the total of your wages, salaries, tips, etc. If a joint return, also include your spouse's income. For most people, the amount to enter on this line should be shown in box 1 of their Form W-2. But the following types of income must also be included in the total on line 1. All wages received as a household employee. An employer isn't required to provide a Form W-2 to you if he or she paid you wages of less than $2,300 in 2021. If you receive wages as a household employee and you didn't receive a Form W-2 because an employer paid you less than $2,300 in 2021, enter H2, head of household. I think that's what that is. HSH, and the amount not reported. 2, you as a Form W-2. I'm not sure what that is. I'd have to look it up. In the space to the left of line 1, for information on employment tax for household employees, see tax topic 756. If that applies to you, make sure you take a look at the details that relate to your specific situation. Any Medicaid waiver payments you receive that you choose to include in earned income for purposes of claiming a credit or other tax benefit, even if you didn't receive a Form W-2 reporting these payments. See the instructions for Schedule 1, Line 8Z. Tip income you didn't report to your employer. This should include any allocated tips shown on Box 8 on your Form W-2 unless you can prove that your unreported tips are less than the amount in Box 8. Allocated tips, Box 8. That's what that is. Which other income from Schedule 1, line 10, right here. Wait. Is that where it goes? See? This is how people check this out. Oh. Let me see. Where does tip income go here? gains other, I guess I have to say here, add line on the total income. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Line 10, schedule 1. Tip income report to your employer should include allocated box 8 of your form W-2 unless you can prove your unreported tips. Allocated tips aren't included as income in box 1. For more details, also include the value of any non-cash tips you receive, such as tickets, passes, or other items of value. Although you don't report these non-cash tips to your employer, you must report them on line 1. My goodness. Okay. Dependent care benefits, which should be shown in box 10 of your form W-2. With this, complete form 2441 to see if you can exclude part or all the benefits. There are lots and lots of details here. This is okay. All right. Let me take a look at W-2. Go down here. Look at box 8. The amount is not included in box 1, 3, 5, or 7. Oops. Go up here. 8. Allocated tips. Oops. I keep going the wrong one. Sorry. Box 8. Allocated tips. You must file Form 4137, Social Security and Medicare tax on unreported tip income with your income tax return to report at least the allocated tip amount, unless you can prove that unless you can prove with adequate records that you received a smaller amount. If you have records that show the actual amount of tips you receive, report that amount, even if it is more or less than the allocated tips. Use Form 4137 to figure the Social Security and Medicare tax owed on tips you did not report to your employer. Either this amount on the wages line of your tax return. Enter this amount by filing Form 4137. Your Social Security tips will be credited to your Social Security record used to figure your benefits. Wow. So, Form 4137. Let's go here. Form 4137. Right? And I'm going to click on that. I'm going to take a look at it. There. Social Security and Medicare tax. So this is an actual form that would people fill out and include with their tax return. If it has like this up here and this up here, and inside the information it says, to include it, then you include it. Again, ask your tax advisor for your situation. So, but here, name a person. I received the tips if married. Complete a separate form for each spouse with unreported tips, Social Security number. Okay. Because of the Social Security number, you would have to have 2 forms. There's only 1 line for Social Security number. Anyways, name of employers to whom you were required to but didn't report all your tips. See instructions. Allocated tips. You must report all your tips, including both cash tips and non-cash tips, as income. I don't know how you determine what the income is. Any tips you report to your employer are included in the wages shown on Form W-2 Box 1. Right here. All right. W-2 Box 1. Add to the amount in Box 1 only the tips you received in 2021 and did not report to your employer. This should include any allocated tips shown on your Form W-2 Box 8. Box 8. Unless you have adequate records to show that your unreported tips are less than the amount in Box 8. So, now you see why accountants and tax advisors deserve the money they ask for. The wording of all this is so important to understand. So there you go. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. It has been long enough for a little bit. I'm trying not to make these too long. So you get the idea that as you go down through this 1040, you can look at your form here to relate to this, to also relate to, this and this, where this will specify here where different things go. We'll go over this some more as I do more videos. If you have specific questions to help with some of this, I can help you decipher it. But again, I cannot tell you any information about your specific circumstances. All I can do is show you what's on here and how it relates to this. Okay, I could try to show you how to read this, where it is on here, and in here, and then where it goes in here in order to relate to the different sections. Okay, is most important. But that's why they charge as much as they do, because it's pretty complex. All right, so have a great day. Thank you for watching. Please share and press the thumbs up button to help out the channel. I would appreciate it so much. If that's okay. I know people ask a lot, but I would really, really appreciate it, and it'll help me keep working on doing better. I'm doing this all on my own and practicing, I guess. All right. So, and if you would like to, please subscribe and comment down below and tell me what sections you would like me to go over, and I will do that for you. And I'm sure you're not the only one, and even if you are, that's fine. I'll just go over different sections if you have some requests, and there you go. I appreciate that very much. All right, Laura out. Stay safe. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye.